The Gathering. Stories by Sarah Norton. Number 1. The last image ingrained in my mind. This is going to be a short, personal story. I was a volunteer who taught English via Skype to a group of kids in the Middle East. I don't want to be more specific than that. It was 2 years ago, when ISIS was rapidly expanding. A group of 30 kids. Everyone in the class was on edge. They were mostly Christians and had nowhere to go. They knew ISIS would have no mercy on them. I was getting torn inside by despair, and did not know how to help them. We had video conversations, where I taught them basic expressions, cultural stuff, and what have you. I tried to show them a better world, as much as I could do it under their circumstances. In the middle of one of the classes, a group of militants burst into the classroom. The last image I saw, still ingrained in my mind, was that of a local English teacher. She had a terrified expression on her face. She knew that slavery was the best she could have hoped for. I tried to find her, but I'm pretty sure she's dead, burned alive. There's no need to make up stories. Life writes the most twisted horror scenarios. Number 2. They're all dead inside. I was waiting for a flight at the airport. A woman turned to me and said, "I always sit there, you know. Always at the front." "You want to be first in line, huh?" I replied. "Get on that plane as fast as you can." "Actually," she paused, "that's not the main reason. There's this philosopher, you see. I know, philosophy. It's taken seriously these days. Anyway, about the philosopher, he said that if you could walk down the street and see how many people were actually dead inside, you'd go mad with terror. We don't even really know what consciousness is, and there are schools of thought that teach we're all dead inside, and if we don't work on our introspective qualities, we'll just cease to exist upon death. I think these cutouts, they're all going to cease to exist. They're just here to facilitate the game for the rest of us." "You've that ability, I take it?" I asked the woman. "Correct," she nodded. "And while you may think that it's just nonsense, let me tell you, whenever someone turns around, whenever I see their backs, if they're dead inside, they're like a cardboard cutout." "Cardboard cutout?" I asked. "Yes," she nodded vigorously. "Yes," she nodded vigorously. "Like people who look real, but they've just a stick propping them up. You know? I can see their insides. Sometimes there's blood on the floor when they walk, and that's why I avoid crowds. 7 out of 10, they're dead. They're zombies, for lack of a better word." "I've got 2 questions for you, if that's the case," I asked. The woman raised her right index finger, as if to interrupt me. "Are you one of them? And how come there's no blood anywhere?" The woman smiled. "I don't think it's literal. It's more of a metaphor, you know? That they're dead inside, and my gift lets me see it. When you know you're dealing with a cutout, you observe them. They talk about mundane stuff, never anything deep. Their eyes, they've that vacuous feel to them. They're often psychopaths, but psychopaths to me are like zombies that were infected by, how do you call it? Malware? A virus? You just know." "Am I one?" I asked her. "No," she shook her head. "You're not one of the cutouts. How many people are sitting here with us? About 100? More than half. Dead inside." "It must feel like a slaughterhouse to you," I said. "ISIS released their new video. Yesterday, I think," she sighed. "It's a human slaughterhouse, actually. They butcher people like cattle, slaughter them like sheep. When I see ISIS members, the recordings I mean, they're almost always cardboard cutouts. We need more good girls in this world, more cheerleaders. I'm sorry, I need to get some air. It's so stuffy in here." The woman stood up and left. Number 3. A philosophical dilemma. I babysat a girl about a year ago. There were photographs of her on the walls as a cheerleader, with her all-American cheerleader skirts spreading like an umbrella, as if to wow the world around her. At one point, she sat down next to me and proceeded to ask the weirdest question I'd ever heard in my life. If I went to a parallel universe, where I found my other self living a better life than me, in a better world than me, would it be wrong to drag my alternative self over to my reality, where I would slit my alter ego's throat? I would do it in my reality, because I'd make a mess. So what happens in my reality stays in my reality. And then you would just take her place. You would still have your child, but your real child, well, in a matter of speaking, I guess, would be dead. Would that make you mad? Sad? Both? This question is so complex, and there's no simple answer to give here, Amy, I replied. Well, she smiled. You're right. It's a hypothetical scenario anyway. The girl stood up and left. Why would she ask me this question? Was she actually talking about herself? Her parents did notice something was off about her, but in a good way. She was smarter, was reading all sorts of books. Nah, I shook my head. No way. That's just some kid trying to play mind games with me. At least that's what I chose to believe. Number 4. We're all seconds away from potential oblivion. We all want to come up with stories that scare others, but we keep forgetting that the most terrifying aspect of our lives is always within us, literally. Yes, I'm talking about that muscle-pumping blood. Imagine that there was nothing after death. Imagine that there is nothing after death. We do not know that for sure, but it's certainly a viable option to consider. When our hearts stop beating, how fast do we lose consciousness? Is it seconds? Would this mean, if there is no afterlife, we're all seconds away from oblivion? Right here? Right now? Non-existence. I experienced it once, under general anesthesia. I was gone. No blackness, no nothing, just gone. You want scary? There's something scarier than this. Just being erased from existence for eternity. Some people may find comfort in that, but aren't they really deluding themselves? Number 5. Entrepreneurial little girl. I felt a tap on my shoulder. It was the little girl that I'd been babysitting for a year. I need your help, she smiled. Please? Sure, I nodded. What do you need my help with, Jessica? Here. The girl showed me a piece of paper with bold letters on it. Price for murder, to be determined. Price for destroying reputation, to be determined. Price for stalking, to be determined. Price for finding people in hiding, to be determined. Other ideas, business plans, investors, funding, SWOT analysis, payment options methods, taxman, avoidance? What's that exactly? I could not believe what I was reading. Are you trying to set up a business? Well, the girl paused. There's a lot of evil in the world. So, this means people want to see evil in the world. I mean, evil is just a cheap slogan anyway. Wouldn't it be awesome to capitalize on evil? People are going to love it. I still need to set the prices for my future services, though. Could you help? Please, feel free to add your own ideas. I'll also need to develop a network of contacts. Contacts are important, The girl said it so matter-of-factly, without a shred of emotion. She then told me that her parents had always emphasized the importance of money, and she was simply trying to find her own market niche. I don't need lessons in compensation, the girl explained. Cheap, religious moralizing, and scare tactics. If it bleeds, well, it leads, right? Without money, you're nothing. Nobody gives a you-know-what about you. We both know it. Join me. In a couple of years, you'll be a millionaire instead of, the babysitter. No offense. I gotta work on the business plan now. The girl put on her headphones and sat in front of a laptop. Hello. I hope you liked this video. If you liked Sarah Norton's writing style, be sure to visit her Reddit page so you can read more of her stories. And be sure to like and subscribe so I can spend more time creating narrations and music for you. Have a good night.